Hey, what's up guys? It's Austin here from Mutation Creation. On this week's Showcase Saturday, we have the Hurricane gene. And we're only going to be showing Hurricanes. We do have some Blitz stuff, but we still treat them like different genes since we have Blitz as Blitz and Hurricane as Hurricane. Even though genetic testing has proven them all three to be the same, Hurricane, Trick, and Blitz. Nonetheless, we're just going to stick to the Hurricanes. And right here we have a Hurricane head for clown. And this girl is just really cool. I love what Hurricane does to the pattern. Overall, the colors stay pretty normal. They're a little bit darker and deeper than your average normal ball python. But if you look at the pattern, you get all this really cool looks, like bodybuilder poses they call them. Look like people doing double bicep flex. And around the neck, you have a lot of chaining at times. And just the overall pattern's a little bit wackier than your normal ball python. They also bring in a lot of speckling, as you can see there inside of the alien heads and throughout the other side. Kind of looks similar to a Het Monsoon as well. And comment down below if you guys want to do a Het Monsoon video. We can show you a lot of the Het markers and just clarify a lot of that stuff up in the future. But now we're going to stick to Hurricane and show you some of the cool combos we have here. So right here we have the Enchi Hurricane, and this looks nothing like a normal Enchi ball python. You know, Enchis have wide eye bands and really clean pattern. When you put the Hurricane in there, it totally whacks out the pattern, getting a lot of that speckling in there I was talking about earlier, right in the alien heads. A lot of Het Monsoon pattern where you have the alien heads being dragged upwards and giving it a really weird appearance compared to the normal ones. We're having that happen a lot over here. And we still get those double bodybuilder poses over here as well towards the neck, and the chaining just like the Hurricane does. And I really like the overall color. It has that yellow tinge at the bottom like Enchis do, but it's a lot darker at the top. And I think adding blackhead, maybe even ultramo or lavender into this will make some really cool orange snakes with a wacky pattern. So here we have the pastel Enchi Hurricane. Take that last combo we showed you and just add pastel into it, and you get this really bright snake. Takes all those dark colors, blushes them out, and takes that Enchi yellow at the bottom and brings it all the way to the top, banding over with all the pattern. And we still have that Enchi color change halfway through. It's really nice orange, almost gold at the bottom. And as it comes up, it gets a little bit more brown and yellow. And you still have really nice blushing in the dorsal as well. And if you look at this, it was kind of hard to ID Enchi inside of the snake. But you can see with the amount of banding, it was Enchi and the color change. But other than that, the snake is really wacky and not like your typical Enchi. They usually are a lot more cleaner, and that's because of the Hurricane once again. We didn't get too much chaining in the neck. It doesn't always happen in the Hurricane combos, but once again we have that Het Monsoon like pattern over here, just going up all the way, dragging the alien heads into the dorsal and banding them, making them look really weird and wacky. And if you look inside of the alien heads, we still have that speckling, so the Enchi wasn't able to clean it all up. It cleaned up a lot of it, especially towards the tail. You got some cleaner pattern, but especially at the neck, that's where you see a lot of the Hurricane stuff. And we do not have many of those double bodybuilder poses. It seems with pastel, it kind of eliminates that. Same with some of the other combos that we have here, because we have a cinnamon Hurricane. We weren't too sure if it was a Hurricane until we were able to produce some stuff from it. But cinnamon is another one of those genes you'll see that hides Hurricane. Here we have a proven breeder cinnamon Hurricane yellow belly. And right away you can notice that it's really hard to see the Hurricane in here. It almost looks just like a cinnamon yellow belly. With a few exceptions, we do have some chaining of weird pattern over here. We do have some of that dragging coming up, but the pattern is looking very similar to just the cinnamon and the yellow belly. Of course, yellow belly giving you that really nice checkering on the belly and the yellow tinge, and some flaming up the sides. And the cinnamon bringing in a lot of the darkness and just the overall pattern with all the keyholes. What I did notice with the Hurricane is that it did make the overall snake a little bit darker. This looks a lot similar to a black pastel color rather than just the cinnamon. And it did whack out the pattern a little bit. We don't really have those double bodybuilder poses. Kind of have it here, but it's definitely not as pronounced as it is with the single gene Hurricane and some of the other combos. So the next few animals we're going to be showing you is from a clutch where we did the Hayabusa male, which is a super Hurricane, to a pastel Enchi fire Wilma. Wilma kind of looks like Spider a bit, but I think it had a cool interaction with the Hurricane. I'm going to show you some of the combos right now. Here we have an Enchi Hurricane Wilma, and your average Enchi Wilma has really banded pattern like this, but it's a lot cleaner. The Hurricane brought in some darker tones as well, muddied up the pattern. You can see right on the halfway mark where you have that Enchi color change, you get really nice dark tones before you get into the lighter tones inside of the dorsal. And the colors between the pattern is nice, really dark and rich blacks. You do have some blushing throughout, but overall it's a really nice dark color. And the Hurricane did the most at the neck, like it usually does. You have a lot of these alien heads or keyholes happening inside of here, and they're kind of just like speckling like you were seeing before, but you do have a few trying to go and break up and band up and kind of give you a kind of het monsoon look. Here's another one of them. But this is just Enchi, Wilma, Hurricane, and we're actually able to hit some other combos. So if we were to add pastel into it, right here, this is with the pastel, it whacked out the pattern that much more, which is kind of weird because we saw with the pastel Hurricane, it didn't give too much pattern change. It kind of looked more like a pastel, lost the Hurricane look. When we add the pastel into the Enchi Hurricane Wilma, it really made that Hurricane expression pop out, especially in the neck. You see a lot more of those keyholes and alien heads. There's a lot of wacky banding like the het monsoon stuff, and that even went throughout the whole snake. And then we're even able to take it one step further and get fire into it. That's when the colors popped a little bit more, and kind of looks a lot similar to the pastel, except for just a little bit brighter. You didn't lose too much of that Hurricane look, but inside of the neck here, we did get some nicer tones inside of the Hurricane markings. You have some more blushing, and they just blend in that much better. So we're going to stay away from the Wilma stuff. Just wanted to show you some of these combos. Probably not going to see too many of these, because a lot of people don't work with the Spider or Wilma as much, and we'll get back into some other Hurricane morphs. Here we have a blackhead Hurricane yellow belly girl, and right away this looks a lot like a blackhead, but the Hurricane did a lot more. If you look really closely at the pattern, you have your average blackhead pattern over here. We have like almost like a Mojave. You got those keyholes and donut holes, but if you look over here, especially towards the neck, it really took them and whacked them out. You have some, I don't even know what that is. You got like some horseshoe looking stuff, and a lot of that het monsoon pattern where you have the alien heads dragging up into the dorsal and trying to band over, and it just looks really cool inside of this combo. And we got a lot of this little speckling inside of the keyholes and donut holes everywhere, just giving it a lot more character and making it look that much better. And of course there's yellow belly in here as well, giving you that flecking on the belly and the flaming coming up from the sides. But I think all three of these genes worked really well together, giving you that nice dark tone as well as some really nice highlights throughout. And then of course you have the Hurricane in here, which is a little bit of a color morph. Look at the neck, it's a really nice dark color in contrast towards the middle of the snake. And I think that's with the Hurricane, because the Hurricane definitely does a lot at the neck. And just a really cool combo. We're actually able to get pastel into this, and that's the next snake. So here's the pastel version of that last snake, and pastel did a whole of a lot inside of this one. You can see the Hurricane markings a lot more pronounced in here, especially because there's a lot more yellow with contrast with those dark colors. Even though the overall color of the snake is a lot brighter, it still held a lot of blacks, especially inside of the keyholes where you get that het monsoon pattern once again, and it gives it really nice character to the snake. It's a nice contrast from all the yellow, especially at the bottom with the yellow belly and the pastel, giving you that really bright flaming, and then those darkness even surrounding the pattern, which I think is a combination of the blackhead and the Hurricane once again. And if we look at the neck of the snake, it's just taken up to a whole nother level than that last one. If you look at the other one right over here, pattern's a lot more uniform like the blackhead stuff, and when you add the pastel, it really whacked it out that much more and just made it look that much cooler. So really nice to get the dark genes with the Hurricane, and adding pastel into it doesn't ruin it, which is really cool. And now we're going to get into the Hayabusa and show you something that we think has Hurricane, but we need your help on. Here we have the Hayabusa. Sadly, he's deep inside his shed right now, so his colors are not looking as rich as they are, but he's still looking really nice, dark, and wacky. And with the Super Hurricanes, it just takes Hurricane up a whole notch and makes it look a lot better than it does with the single gene. You could notice just how wacky the overall pattern is, and there's a lot more chaining throughout. This example doesn't have too much, but some examples of Super Hurricanes or Hayabusas are entirely chained along the sides, and it has a couple of breaks in it sometimes, similar to what you're seeing at the neck here, but some of them could be really crazy depending on the combo. This is the only Super Hurricane we have here. We actually have a clutch that laid a couple days ago between this guy and that Cinnamon Hurricane Yellow Belly. So hopefully we can hit some Hayabusa Yellow Bellies and Hayabusa Cinnamon and Hayabusa Cinnamon Yellow Bellies Be really cool for the future. But as of now, I'm really liking the Hayabusa stuff, how dark it is, and it has really good contrast with the actual pattern. It brings in this really nice brown tone that doesn't clash too much with the blacks, and it even has some flaming coming up the sides, even though there's no yellow belly in here. So I'm super excited to get yellow belly into this to really make those flames shine. If you look at the neck here, we have a lot of those double bodybuilder poses throughout the snake, not only at the neck. With the supers, the whole snake is whacked out, and overall it's just really nice. Getting this into some recessive projects like the clown I think would be really cool. We do have a Hurricane clown here, but actually we're doing a split pairing with Nasty Morphs. It's a banana spot nose Hurricane clown female, and he's bringing it to one of his Hurricane clown males. So Hayabusa clowns are coming in the future here at Mutation Creation. Stay tuned for that. It should be a couple months away. And we're actually going to move on to this last snake where we think is Hurricane because it was in the pairing. We've never made a freeway Hurricane before, and we like your guys' help on IDing it. So that's pretty much all we have for the Hurricane stuff. There's not too much Hurricane in our collection yet. We're using that Hayabusa male heavily, and we're going to get into a whole bunch of recessive projects, freeways, and other stuff. Speaking of freeways, right here is a freeway that came from a Hurricane clutch, and we've never made a freeway that looks exactly like this. There's a lot of variability and polymorphism inside of the freeways, but this guy just has a little bit of a different look to him. He has really nice dark pattern, especially around the dorsal, and he kind of has this wacky pattern going along the sides of his belly. So I would like to know what you guys think down below. Do you think this is a Hurricane freeway or just a weird looking freeway? Also let us know what other morphs you want to see inside of these videos. We're trying to go and pick morphs we don't have too many videos on, but we don't have too many of those morphs. So if there's anything you guys would like to see that we haven't done yet, please comment down below and we'll take it into consideration. That's going to be it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. See you next week with another Showcase Saturday. Peace out.